What's going on, man? My name's Jordan, and this is Jonathan back again with Knicks City Rock. Just obviously happy with how things have been going with the season so far over the last couple games, and just seeing some of our young players grow. It's just obviously great to see, and I definitely just look forward to how we continue to play throughout this season. So yeah, I just want to throw it back to Jonathan. Anything you want to,
Yeah, so
introduce
what's going
or
on,
talk
guys?
about?
Welcome to Knicks City Rock. Knicks have been doing pretty good in this last week. We had a tough game against the Bucks, but we managed to go ahead and get two back-to-back wins. So we were able to ruin Victor Wembanyama's Garden debut by pretty much not allowing him to do anything. And we also did an excellent job against the Clippers. So I'm ready to talk about these games. So let's get into the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, like you said, we can start with the Clippers game. Yeah. Obviously, James Harden had to make his debut against us. And unfortunately for him, we spoiled it, and it was a great game. Um, James Harden did have a pretty good game. He had 17 points, 6 assists. You know, it was all right, but let me get to our guys. So yeah, Julius. How about Julius? He's finally, waking up. He's finally getting it, and it's good to just obviously see him just continue to grow and just work through, his problems. But I did see that I guess he was fighting through, ankle issues, and I guess the medical staff was telling him to sit down, but he was wanted to fight through it, which I personally don't think he should have did. I think you might as well sit down. It's early in the season. It's too early to jeopardize potentially, worsening that injury just because you want to, prove that you can stay healthy for a whole season. You know what I'm saying? Why sacrifice, all this season? Because obviously you're a big part of our team, and we don't want to lose you. Um, RJ Barrett, RJ Barrett, six, 26 and 6. Like the boy's getting assists now too. Like it's just great to see. Like obviously, how up and down his career has been, since he's got to the Knicks, and just like the trajectory that he's kind of gone in. He's definitely a proponent of the epitome, I would say, of like growth isn't linear. You know what I'm saying? But growth will occur. Obviously if you continue to work at it, and that's kind of what I would say the Knicks are reaping the benefits of with him, by just continuing to stay patient and allow him to kind of work through his shit, for lack of a better word, term, in order to, get to where he is now. So I hope he keeps it up, and it's just great to see. Mitch, you can't, he's continued to be one of the best, big men in the league this season. I would say, now obviously on defense, and as far as rebounding, it's not even a question. He's almost historical in that, category. So yeah, just an overall good game. From overall, other than that, it wasn't, too crazy. Hart had 10, 7, and 3. Pretty good game. That's good to see from Hart. He pitching in, so he's always going to, do what he does. So yeah, I could throw it back to you, man, if you want to
Yeah,
speak on
I
that
mean
game.
the Clipper game was a great game. Didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, but I was able to watch the second half, and pretty much I liked exactly what I saw. RG was able to knock down threes. Randall was able to get it going finally during the season, and Jalen Brunson was doing his thing. And again, to add on what Jordan was talking about, Mitchell Robinson has been sensational so far this year, and he did an excellent job in that Clippers game. And I think he got something somewhere around of the lines about 15 rebounds or something of that regard
15.
in regards to the stats, something around there. I think he's averaging about 14 to 16 rebounds per game. So it was the same result in that game as well. Pretty much overall, during the Clippers game, The Knicks really just figured out what they were trying to do in regards to their offensive scheme. Shots were falling, everyone was facilitating, and everyone was getting things to go. Specifically, Julius Randle, who's been trying to get his 3-point shot to fall and just try to get anything to fall. He was getting it going during this Clipper game, and I think that was really what kind of might help him out for the rest of the year. But I think it's just one game, so we're still gonna be in for a ride to see what Julius will do for the rest of the year. But I think it was a game he really, really, really needed, and he performed very well. We here at Nick City Rock give credit where credit is due, and he definitely showed out and helped the Knicks to a victory. But to kind of last thing to add on what Jordan was saying about his ankle and the individuals who were tending to his ankle for the Knicks, they did say that he should just go out there and play, even though he has this ankle problem, because he needs to get going in regards to his performance. I do kind of agree with Jordan there. I think his health is more important than his injury and needing to be out for game 6. There's a lot of basketball to be played. If Julius Randle does go down, even though he's not performing at the level that Knicks fans want him to do, you still need Julius Randle out there because he's very impactful in regards to the game. And so if he's not there, you're going to lose out in a lot of defensive plays and a lot of rebounds. But I think Julius Randle, even though he had a really good game against the Clippers, I'm still very, very skeptical. And yeah, so that's my take. So back to you, Jordan.
Yeah. Well, I think he's finally turning the corner from what I've been seeing. Over these past couple games, I think he's going to continue to, just build that confidence. And I don't think he's overall just been bad. I just think the shooting just isn't there. But I mean, he's doing everything else. He rebounding the ball. He getting assists. As far as defense, that's also an issue. That's another issue with him. But that's why we do need him to be as impactful scoring wise. In order for us to I got obviously for that to offset the defensive deficiencies and things like that. But yeah, Mitch, I think, like I said, he's really been anchoring that defense. And, I think he's really been a godsend for our team. And just honestly has, played himself into being, with this season, invaluable for our team because I don't think without him, what I'm saying, who's going to protect that rim, who's going to get those rebounds, those second chance points. That's a lot of the reason why our offense is as good as it is because, the second chance points that we get. So, he's a great, piece. And I have to give my flowers to DiVincenzo because he did have 12, and I think he had 6 assists from what I saw as well. He had 6 rebounds. 6 rebounds. Yeah, that was the game. Yeah, that was the game. He got that rebound off the baseline. I think it was over James Harden or somebody. And then he passed it real quick at the wing, the right wing. Quickly dished it back to him because he relocated to the corner. Got it in the corner, cashed it. That was great basketball. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yeah, that's the type of play that obviously, we didn't get to see from Obi Toppin. He gave us a lot of those flashy dunks and stuff like that. But from that type of aspect, hustling, defense, plays like that, being able to shoot that good, he doesn't I can see why we made that move and it's paying off. In the beginning I wasn't too sold on it because like I said, having to bring another guard into the fold that just kind of mucks things up. But I think, DiVincenzo's been doing pretty good for us. So hope he continues. So let's move on to the Spurs and the Knicks. You said like I said, we had a great game against them, 126 against 105. Just handled them. Great win. So we're now 4-4 going into Sunday against the Hornets. This was Victor Wembanyama's coming out party. He had 14-9. That was it. But you could tell he was just struggling. It was a tough game for him, and we overcame that matchup for sure. Um, Scoring to RJ Barrett again, 24. I can't really this has been probably the most consistent he's been since. Oh, no, there's no doubt about it. This is the most consistent he's been honestly since the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of carried that over, and that's just great to see. Obviously, because um, obviously just him struggling the way he did in the beginning, and just seeing where he is now, it's just like I say, incredible. And he added 6 assists with that. So, he's really understanding the passing aspect as well, and being able to make the right play and not always, force a bad shot when he doesn't need to. He's slowing down, making smarter decisions, and that's a sign of growth. Julius, 23, 16 and 5. Great game. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the play. I think he's ramping it up. I think he just needs these type of games to build that confidence in himself, and it's good to see. Um, what I was gonna say, I think if he continues, obviously like playing like this, along with RJ, as well as Brunson, Brunson's kind of been a little bit off at times. I guess in my eyes, compared to the standards that he kind of set for himself last season, he's definitely not as consistent in the paint and things like that as he was before. So I think that's like a little difficult. But yeah, man, Brunson had a good game, 25 and 6. That's always a great, you know, that's always great. Brunson, we don't really worry too much about him. He's a consistent, force on our team. But although, like obviously, like I said, he's been a little bit under average compared to what he usually shows. But you know, and then got to give my flowers to Quickly. I don't even think I mentioned Quickly previously. He only had 7 and 5, I guess, against the Clippers, but still great defense. Always you never have to worry about defense with him and things like that. Like I said, 19 and 5, great game. He's really coming into his own and you know continuing to be just that great piece for our team. And Hartenstein, didn't give my flowers to him earlier either, but I think Hartenstein, like I said, he had 13 and 3 in this game, 3 rebounds, and 15 minutes, spark off the bench. Great backup bigs. Big, probably one of the better backup bigs in the league. So, yeah, man, I throw it back to you.
Yeah, so that Spurs game was probably the best team win for the entire game. The Knicks controlled the whole game from start to finish, and so as a fan perspective, you pretty much had a secure feeling that the Knicks were going to get that done pretty much right off the bat. Everyone that Jordan mentioned did spectacular. RJ Barrett has proven that this is probably the most consistent he's ever been in his career in regards to the regular season, and hopefully he continues his play. And if he can do so, then it's going to be very good for RJ. And for Knicks fans, we're definitely rooting for that as well. With Julius Randle, another good game. He was out there making his shots, and he was performing at a high level. It seems like with these last 2 games, he's getting his footing. And as a Knicks fan and as Knicks fans in general, it's good to see Julius Randle figuring it out. And then Jalen Brunson, he also did excellent. He was getting a couple of threes in there. I think he made 3 consecutive threes, or it might
Yeah,
be 2 consecutive threes, something around the line. He was struggling a little bit in the beginning, but towards the second quarter, he was kind of getting his shots to fall. So it was good to see him, and he was still facilitating. And then quickly came off the bench, and he was performing at a high level as well in that game. And Mitchell Robinson, again, comes out and gets a ton of rebounds and does exactly what he needs to do. And he's been just really performing at an extreme level. Mitchell Robinson, this is probably one of the best performances we've seen so far from a center, from a Nick. So this is definitely a good sign for us as well. DiVincenzo, I wanted to talk to him about the Clippers game and this game against the Spurs. The Clippers game, he did excellent. He was knocking threes down. That's what we got him to do. He was knocking threes down. He was facilitating, passing, controlling the ball. He was doing a really good job. And then he was doing the same thing in the Spurs game. He was getting the ball, nailing his threes when he got the opportunities to shoot threes. And it was just a good set of games for DiVincenzo as well. And last but not least, well, there's two more things that I want to talk about. On the Knicks perspective, I think they did a really good job in kind of denying Victor Wembanyama from kind of taking over the game or just being a problem on the court. They were able to, as soon as he stepped on the court and tried to get his offense going, they eliminated him pretty much right away. And that was the whole game. So their star way to score was almost entirely eliminated. And on the Knicks perspective, Josh Hart has been a very good facilitator. He's been, as soon as he gets the ball, he's been pushing the court. He's been giving the Knicks that pace that they've been looking for. And I think that's what they've been desperately needed in these last couple of games. And during the drought where they were losing a couple of games, I think where Josh Hart has that ability to push the pace and change the momentum. It was definitely missed, and he was able to use that against the Clippers and the Spurs. And before I throw it back to Jordan, I just the ESPN the ESPN broadcast. I think the Knicks did a really good job in just staying focused, and they didn't listen to any of the broadcasts that ESPN was displaying because they were very heavy on the whole display of its Victor Wembanyama's first game, so on and so forth. It was heavily promoted, and I think the Knicks did a really good job in just staying focused on that game in particular and just executing what they normally do each and every night. So props to the Knicks. So I'll throw it back to Jordan.
Yeah, I truly think we kind of threw like a defense at Victor that he probably wasn't so used to seeing yet in his young career. So I think it was tough for him to score, and it wasn't what he was used to. So that just speaks to Tom Thibodeau and the defensive schemes that he has created for our team, as well as obviously all of our players as well. RJ with his improved defense this season. Grimes, of course, and Mitch, who is obviously our pillar down low. So obviously, I know they're going to continue to play that, the great defense that they play. That I know they're that I know they're capable of continuing to do. And we'll just see, like I said, how things go with the Hornets. But I definitely want to go back and really just hone back in on RJ. I have to say, man, I really believe this is probably a breakout season for RJ. And I think he kind of, hopefully, like I said, it's early, but, I believe, with these games, he's kind of solidifying himself as, maybe not a third option, maybe a potential second option, at times on nights, he's proven himself to be at times, even, like I said, in games, in the beginning where, Randall was struggling and him and Brunson kind of was like, handling things. So I believe RJ is continuing to, grow with in front of our eyes. And I just wonder, like, what the ceiling is of our team if he continues to be consistent like this on both sides of the ball, and give us the shooting and, everything that he's been giving us, along with, hopefully a more consistent Julius on both sides of the ball, and a more consistent Brunson as well. So I mean, if we get all of those things, there's no telling. I feel like what our ceiling could be, with this team. Obviously not championship or nothing like that, but I definitely believe like we could definitely make noise, get to the second round again, and make it a tough series like we did last year. Maybe even tougher, force a game 7 or something. You never know. So yeah, we'll see. But like I said, if he keeps this up, I feel like things are. It's only good for our season. It's only going to be good for everybody. So yeah, I can throw it back to you.
Yeah, to add on what you just said, I think consistency is key. I think that goes for every single person that is on the Knicks, but specifically when we've been following R.J. Barrett, his entire career he's not really stayed consistent. So looking at him for these 8 games that they've played so far, he's proven that he can score efficiently, he can get rebounds, and he can get assists. If he continues to play the way he's playing, he might find himself being the second option. Right now, I think he would be really the third option right behind Julius. But if he can really stay consistent, he will look to be one of those players that the Knicks can rely on. Last year, he didn't really get past that hump to really truly prove to Tom Thibodeau and the team that he can stay consistent, and it kind of prevented him from being that role player or that second option. So if he stays consistent, I think he can definitely prove a point. And I also think that goes with anyone that's on the team. Right now, we've been talking about how Julius Randle hasn't been consistent, but he's been consistent in these last 2 games. So if that stays the same, then Julius Randle hopefully will continue to be a valuable piece for the Knicks. And if he goes on this roller coaster ride and RJ stays consistent, he might replace Julius Randle in that department. For me, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just hoping that RJ can stay consistent, and then I also hope that Randle can find himself with and take these couple of games that he's been playing poorly in the first couple of these games, and he can figure it out and stay consistent for the rest of the year. But only time will tell. I think the Knicks are getting their pace. It's early, so New York Knicks fans, if they lose one game in the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season, or at the end of the season, we're going to be losing our minds. So I think for Knicks fans, they just had to be patient and wait for these players to kind of get their footing and get it going. But RJ's definitely been playing really good, so I think the limit is only is there for him. He can just blow it out of the water. So I can't wait to see what he'll do next. So I'll just throw it back to you, Jordan.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I definitely have high hopes for him. Just as an individual player, just obviously, and it hit different. Honestly, more so for him, more than anybody, because he homegrown. Like, you know what I mean? Like we drafted him, so like he's been able to, just like Mitch. Like it really hit different because like he been here like from the start, from the start of his career, and just grew with us, and we kind of raised him, for a lack of lack of a better way to kind of describe it. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. So now we just kind of reaping the benefits of seeing how successful he is, and just good overall how good like our players are. So I just hope the same for both of them. So um, I want to go now and transition to Julius because we were talking about Julius. Is this a Julius resurgence? You know what I'm saying? Is this maybe the turning point? These last couple games, to maybe help his career. Not help his career, but like help this season and kind of wipe away how bad the first couple games have been for him. You know what I'm saying? So um, I personally think we'll wait and see because Julius has kind of gotten that reputation of being like 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, 1 year bad type of player, or type of is this kind of a track record that he has built up for himself. So I personally have to see him continue to build up more. Um, what am I trying to say? I need to personally see him build up more consistency, and just just overall consistency. Like I definitely see growth. I want to give him his flowers because, you don't see him arguing with refs no more too much. You don't see him like just being, so combative with his teammates. You don't see him like being combative with players or just even like just being out of control, getting technicals, stuff like that. Like he's over at least these first couple games. It's early, but he's been pretty good. So I think that's growth in itself. Um, and I just hope like that this matureness kind of transfers to the basketball side of it. And that's why I personally feel like I don't know at times Randall can be good handling the ball a lot, but at times I feel like the ball needs to be more so in RJ and Brunson's hands, and Randall can get set up more often, and shots can be created for him, a little more often than him holding the ball so much. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those turnovers, that he's getting, and a lot of I think it's just he's not a good decision maker, and I don't think he'll. I'm not gonna say he's not a good decision maker, but I think it's hard to really say. It's like he's off and on. He's not a consistently good decision maker. So yeah, man. But yeah, I throw it to you. What would you say? Do you think this is maybe a resurgence for him? Do you think uh, he will turn this around and be consistent? And yeah.
Yeah, so it's tough to tell with this. The first couple of games were really hard to watch. That's probably one of Randall's worst spurts of games to where he hasn't been good at all. And I think Julius Randall has a tendency of doing that every year and every season. And in the playoffs, he's been proven that he doesn't show up during the playoffs. And like Jordan added, he is either really good one year, not good at all the next year, really good after that, and then not so great. So we are right now in the mix of, is this going to be a good year from Randall or a bad year from Randall? I think the last two games that he's played were really good, but for me, the stuff that I've seen not only in the previous seasons, but in the first couple of games just doesn't give me enough to really be assured that he's going to stay consistent. When we are talking about RJ and all the Knicks players staying consistent, really, when you're a fan or watching this team, you have to be able to have a player who can prove day in and day out that they can stay consistent and bounce back when they have bad games. So when you look at Jalen Brunson, he may have a bad game, but he's probably going to bounce back right after that. But in the case of Julius Randle, he's not one of those players. Even if he has a really good game, you have no idea what you're in store for the next game. And I think it's the same thing vice versa. So I'm still in that boat because even though he's had two back-to-back games, this game against Charlotte on Sunday, I still personally don't know what to expect from Julius Randle. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to facilitate in regards to offense. You'll still be able to have him consistently play reasonable defense and get offensive and defensive rebounds. But really, when we're paying him so much money, we need him to do a lot more than just get defensive and offensive rebounds, play defense, so on and so forth. He needs to perform on the offensive uh, portion of the court. So for me, I don't think that we should be throwing our pitchforks and running Julius Randle out of town yet because I don't think right now currently his value will get us anywhere, but it's just a hard situation to be in for the Knicks. In the last show, I was ridiculing Julius Randle, and my last short, I personally said I'm done with him. I want him out of New York. So for me, it's really hard for me to just say, oh no, he had two games. I think he's back. I think he's going to be consistent because in the last couple of seasons, this is the same song and dance. So still going to root for him. I still want him to be that important factor on the Knicks when he's on the court. But I just really don't see it working out because I've already seen this same situation time and time again, and I'm just sick and tired of it. So that's kind of my take on it. Even though he just had two really good games, I still think we're going to have more of those bad games in the near future. But I still hope for the best, and hopefully he can stay consistent. I hope he proves me wrong and he can stay consistent throughout the year. But that's my take on it.
Indeed, indeed, man. Well, I truly believe that, you know, believing in him might pay off. Sticking around, keeping him it might it might pay off, but at the same time I am skeptical. Just because, like you said, we've had the same song and dance for a while now. For what, 4 or 5 years now. So um we all we can do is see. And like I said, we're gonna find out real soon. But so yeah, just a quick, other couple things I wanted to touch on. But quickly, I think quickly has obviously continued to be a great player, this season. I even remember, like I said, we kind of talked about previously in a past show about like, even before the season started, that if one of these young players, Grimes, quickly, RJ was able to pop and really like, lift themselves and get to, closer to Brunson and Randall than obviously being closer to, lower in standard. If they are able to do that, then that's only going to help our team better, even more. And I think we're seeing it obviously with Quickly and RJ. Well, we really seeing it with RJ, but I think Quickly has shown just as much, growth and just effort and everything all together. Just that RJ has. And it's just great to see, our young players, just be so successful. Because I remember, like, honestly, like, it's kind of really surreal, bro. Because in the beginning, obviously being a Knicks fan, you remember like the mellow years. Think about that team. We was one of the oldest teams in the league. We ain't had no rookies. Like we ain't had no rookies coming up. Like no good rookies. No young players like who we drafted who was really like doing you know what I'm saying, playing prominent roles on our team. And now you know what I'm saying, look at us now. We got RJ, he's starting. Grimes, he's starting. You got Mitch, he's starting. Quickly, like, so we got a lot of young talent that we was able to really like draft and grow and just have create like build our own team, like just like Golden State. You know what I mean? Like obviously you can only be one Golden State, but like you definitely want to be able to grow a team where you have at least a few of your young players a part of that core who just grew with the team, and now they in the tip, or what I'm saying, just look at the Nuggets, Jokic, homegrown, like so yeah. But I throw it to you, yeah. Like I said, Quickly has been great, and I think he's just gonna continue to be a force for us off that bench. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's always a good sign to see when the Knicks can draft players and they become valuable assets for the team. Currently on the roster, as Jordan mentioned, RJ was drafted, Mitchell Robinson was drafted, Grimes was drafted, and Emmanuel Quickly was drafted. So it's really good to see that a bunch of these players are finally finding their footing, and some players are outperforming their value. Specifically, right now, Mitchell Robinson is doing an extreme job in providing the team with offensive and defensive rebounds. And Emmanuel Quickly can possibly be one of the most valuable players in the whole entire NBA in regards to coming off of the bench. So it's a really good sight to see when the Knicks can actually go into the draft and develop these players and have assets for the team. And he mentioned before with that Melo, when Melo was around town, that was a very old or a veteran based team where you had Carmelo Anthony leading the charge. There's not a lot of young people around the town or anyone that was drafted by the Knicks, but half of that was because when they were trying to acquire Carmelo Anthony, they had to make an extreme deal to acquire him from Denver. So a bunch of their assets that they had to pretty much ship to Denver in order to get Melo at the end of the day. But I do agree with you that when you were watching that team, it seemed a little bit old, couldn't really get over that line in regards to getting the championship. And if they could have had players that they developed either through the draft or younger style players to increase the tempo or get a couple of things going and give the Knicks a little bit of a different pace, it could have been a different result. And so when you
Imagine, bro. I don't mean to cut you off, but imagine if that team had, some like a Quickly or
yeah,
a RJ or somebody, just a
right.
young player, just to be able to take what is it? Just the spotlight off Melo, just to give him, just to spell him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
man.
think that's what they were missing. They were missing that piece that gave them that spark, right? And they really didn't have that. They had like Jason Kidd coming off the bench, and was like 35, and so they didn't really have that. So when we're talking
Nah, I think
about
he was like close to 40, bro.
yeah, he was
At
pretty
that
old.
time.
Yeah, but you're looking at the Knicks team now. They're young. They have these younger players who are building themselves and they're trying to just find themselves in the NBA, and that's always good for younger teams. And we're in the NBA, but it's also very valuable to their development, right? When you have Grimes out there starting every game, that pretty much is only going to make him a better player. He's going to be familiar with schemes. He's going to get familiar with guarding these elite, talented these players, and so it's just a way for the Knicks to evolve. And I think they're going in the right track. It's just really, really dependent on how well the front office can maintain these young guys, right? Quickly, we've been talking about him all year. He's been probably one of the most, if not the most valuable player besides RJ on the Knicks so far this year. And so when the offseason does start, he's someone that you kind of really have to make sure you sign him. And I know he's looking to get that big payday to be a starter maybe somewhere else. But I think if the Knicks are really looking to be that championship caliber team, they have to, like Jordan said, maintain these young guys that they drafted and keep them on the team. If they kind of let them go, then we're back to square one. So that's really my take on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nah. I wouldn't say necessarily back to square one, because in the end, I mean, just think about it. Let's look at that team. Look how great that team was with KD, Russ, James Harden, Jeff Green. Man, they had all them players, but like that, it had to get broken up. They was all great players, but like it didn't. Well, it did mesh. I mean, obviously they went to a championship, so something did work, but it just they weren't able to make it, weren't ever able to make it over the top, and that's unfortunate. But um, it's just like I said, I think sooner or later a move is gonna have to get made, and obviously I'll be upset. Whoever it is, it's not gonna be somebody we want. So
Right.
and it's just just the way it is, unfortunately. But if it means it gets us closer to a championship, we'll see. To be determined. Well, I don't, I wouldn't be upset with it, depending on what it is. Depending on what it is, it all depends. And I think, like I said, this front office definitely has shown that they're gonna make a decision. And if they're gonna make a big move, they're gonna know that they're making a good investment They're not gonna make a bad move. I don't like they've been pretty calculated since they got here. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, I got full faith that um, whatever the deal is, down the line or whatever happens, it'll be in our favor. So, yeah. So yeah, Mitch. I wanted to pass it on and go to Mitch. And just obviously highlight how great he's been. Just like I said, continue to grow. He's now been on the team 6 years. I didn't even know that. 6 years.
Yeah, that's a long
20.
time.
Yeah, bro. That's crazy. 2017. So it's just great to see, like I said, how great he's become on both sides of the ball. I think he could definitely benefit from some more lives. Hope that's if they're open, obviously, but I think he just gonna continue to get better. Definitely on defense. Um, and he's definitely been an anchor. It's no telling where we would be without him. So I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean Mitchell Robinson been one of the assets that been helping the Knicks out in a lot of categories. He's given the Knicks a lot of second chances, and he's just dominant on the boards. He's also, like Jordan said, I would like to see him get the ball a little bit more offensively in regards to lots or feeding him down low. But I really think the effectiveness on the glass is what's really propelling the Knicks and being that effective force. And his defense is also spectacular. He's a force. Once he's on defense, he can eliminate anyone's center and he can do almost anything on the defensive end. Specifically, like we talked about already in the beginning of the show, when Victor Wembanyama appeared against Mitchell Robinson and even Isaiah Hartenstein, they were able to truly eliminate him right off the bat. So when you have a very young, talented player like Victor Wembanyama, Mitchell Robinson came out and entirely eliminated him from that game from the start. So I definitely give props to Mitchell Robinson. You can only go up from here, and so I've liked what I've seen from him so far.
Definitely, definitely, definitely growing before our eyes. Another player, like I said, and you know, the sky is the limit. Sky is definitely the limit for him, and our defense if he continues to play this way, and just the offense. And I think another thing I would say just for him, as far as like just how admirable he is as a player, is like I know it's kind of at points it's been difficult for him just knowing he isn't able to be incorporated into the offense as often as he wants to be, but he hasn't allowed that to affect his game. He continues to just do great at, the things he knows he's great at. You know what I'm saying? Instead of worrying so much about other things like scoring and, things like that. So, that's good. This is obviously sacrificing what you want for the betterment of the team. And that's all you can ask for from a teammate on any team. So, that's, like I said, just great. So then I want to just go to our bench. We can just talk about our bench, like Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, and Hart, just quick hitters. Hart, I think Hart has been, it's been meh, I would say this season, like for me. But I think he's, overall, obviously he's beneficial, but I just feel like, I don't know, I guess I expected a little more, maybe offensively from him and things like that. But I think at times he could just be a little too passive, um, and he has the capability of scoring a little more. Obviously, especially if he shot the ball, he just doesn't shoot threes. He passes up a lot of threes that he could be shooting, and I think that kind of bogs our offense down. When he's in the game. So that's the only thing I wanted to say about him. But yeah, I could throw it back to you about Josh Hart. How you feel about Josh?
I think for Josh Hart, it's a little bit on and off. The thing I really do believe he helps a team out is getting the pace when he's on the court. Every time he has the ball, he's pretty much going at full speed and really getting that tempo going down. But besides that, the spark that he had when we acquired him last year, and I think this is pretty much what everyone and the Knicks fandom is saying, is that spark is kind of gone now. It's kind of died out, and his way of impacting each game that he's in, he doesn't really do that. His 3-point shot is almost non-existent at all. His scoring is efficient, but he doesn't score enough. He gets about 8 or 10 points a game, and every time he scores around those amount of points, it seems like they don't exist, and it's extremely silent. And there's no place where he's impacting the game. And I feel really, like I only mentioned before, the only thing Josh Hart's been doing is really when he gets the ball, he's changing the pace, and he's able to dish the ball with someone else who is also either running the fast break or matching his speed when he's going down the court. But other than that, I don't believe Josh Hart is awful so far this year. I think he is a role player, so you can't really put him at a huge high pedestal. Do believe he's doing what he's supposed to be doing so far. Just think that he needs to step it up a little bit. But I wouldn't say he's been terrible, but I think he's just also in the same boat with trying to get things going. So it's the beginning of the season. So I think it's just a little bit of a waiting game for him. So that's my take on Josh Hart.
And maybe I can't even contribute it to FIBA because RJ played FIBA and RJ playing like this now, But I was gonna say I know Brunson played as well. They played on the same team together, and ironically, they both kind of are they have had their struggles so far this season. So it's I wouldn't contribute it to that, and I'm sure if I asked them, they probably wouldn't contribute it to that. They wouldn't make no excuse. They just would probably say that they need to do better. So. It's just obviously just continuing to work at it, and I think he's affected the game in positive ways. I definitely don't think he's been a negative, on the defensive end at all. He's going to play defense. On the offensive end, that offense has to do a little, do better. Our offense is 25th or something. Like we're still pretty low right now. So. We got to do better, and that I would say comes down to shooting the ball when you open more often, and just I don't know. That's mainly the thing with him for me. But we can go to DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo obviously he started kind of slow in the beginning, but he's ramped it up. He's kind of gotten to a better pace, and he's shown why we gave him the contract we did. And it's good to see him, have success off our bench and kind of boost our defense off the bench a lot of times, as well as, shoot the ball, as well as he has shot in it so far. So I like what DiVincenzo is bringing for us. I'm still worried about, a potential injury to Julius, maybe derailing our season because we don't have a big man to back him up. But that's the only, thing with that. But I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, DiVincenzo, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It's the beginning of the season, so this is kind of the same song and dance we're gonna say for every player so far. But DiVincenzo kind of started off on a rocky boat. He couldn't really find a shot for the first couple of games, and I think the Bucks game, he was okay, but there was a moment in time to where I couldn't believe the decision that he made. Remember when he tried to slam it down with Brook Lopez? That's probably the only thing that I really definitely did not like about DiVincenzo. I think really what we have DiVincenzo for is to shoot threes and really facilitate in regards to the offense, pass it out and help out defensively. And when he does that, he's a viable piece for the Knicks. But when he hits the hole and tries to slam it on people like Brook Lopez, I don't want to see that at all. And I do believe he got that criticism. He cut it back and stayed to his normal scheduled programming. And so he's been doing pretty good for the last two games. So I do think DiVincenzo will be a viable piece for the Knicks, and his shot looks pretty smooth. His play looks smooth. So I've liked what I've seen so far throughout all of these games. I just did not like that dunk attempt on Brook Lopez. I was
Yeah,
really
man.
upset when I saw that. I could not believe my eyes. But besides
I
that,
don't know what he was thinking about,
yeah,
honestly,
that
bro.
was
Honestly.
awful, terrible. I couldn't believe my eyes. That is not a decision. That is not a decision you should make as a shooting guard. You're not slamming it on Brook Lopez. It's just not happening. It's
Just
not
what
going to happen. So I don't know what he was trying to
that just wasn't a good. I was about to say that just wasn't a good decision.
do.
Good
Yeah,
business decision.
yeah,
But yeah, man. I was gonna say, last but not least, Hartenstein. Like I said previously, probably one of the better backup big men in the league right now. And he was last year. And he's continued to be consistent. As far as scoring and as well as playing defense. As well as rebounding. He does it all. Passes the ball. Makes plays. He's a great, like I said, great backup big. He just doesn't do it as well as Mitch. That's all. But yeah, man. What you got to say about our guy Hartenstein?
yeah. Hardenstein's just been showing out for the this whole year, just like Mitchell Robinson. I think he's been doing exactly what Mitchell Robinson's really has been doing, even though Mitchell Robinson has been over exceeding in regards to acquiring rebounds and whatnot. But as far as a backup big man, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. His defense is extremely great. He's getting rebounds as well, and he's also a viable piece to the offense for the second unit. I think I'd rather see Hartenstein with the ball than Mitchell Robinson, but I think they're just two different players. But Hartenstein's just
Yeah,
really been playing extremely good for the secondary big man. We're really a blessed team right now in regards to the big men that we have to our disposal in regards to Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. Even though they do play differently in regards to their play style, I think they're very, very valuable in their two different play styles, one being starter, one coming off the bench. But I think Isaiah Hartenstein, specifically for him, he's really good defensively, he's really good offensively, and he's doing a good job passing the ball and also doing a really good job getting rebounds, regardless whether it be offensive or defensive. So I'm really excited from what I've seen so far from Isaiah Hartenstein, and I hope that he continues what he's been doing in these first couple of games here.
yes, sir. Yeah, man. And like I said, I believe Hartenstein definitely brings a different element to the offense that especially off the bench that Mitch doesn't bring. Just as being a great passer, he's a better passer than Mitch, and just a little more skilled in certain aspects. So that just kind of works out for our offense a little bit better, and creates more of an advantage when he's on the floor. And like I said, I know he's going to continue to do that, and I look forward, to seeing how things go. Just looking ahead at our schedule, we play Charlotte on Sunday, matinee game, nice 12 o'clock game at home. So let's see what we can do. I definitely think we should wrap that. That should be in the bag. And then we have a back to back. So we go to Boston, fly out to Boston Monday. So we in the Boston we in TD Garden against Boston. So let's see if we can redeem ourselves. I want to definitely see a breakout game from Julius, a great game. I'm anticipating a great game from Julius. Um, obviously that opponent and going up against Porzingis, and this is gonna be a tough one. Then we have Atlanta. We got to fly out to Atlanta, and we see them on Wednesday. So yeah, see Trey again. Then we have Washington on Friday, and then we have Charlotte again on Saturday. So, man, we got a couple more minutes. Let's make a friendly prediction, I guess, for the week ahead. Starting Sunday, because Sunday obviously starts a new week. This is what one, two, three, 4, 5 games. Got 5 games here. What do you think? What do you think our record is going to be? In those 5 games out of Charlotte, Boston. Cause yeah, this is something we can do. We can monitor because our guess and your guess, and let's see who get it right. Who get the
Yeah.
true prediction is right at the end of the week. So yeah, Charlotte. We got Charlotte, and then we got Boston, Atlanta, Washington, and Charlotte again. So we got Charlotte twice, Boston, Atlanta, Washington. What do you think our record gonna be in those 5 games?
I'd probably say realistically 3-2. I every time the Knicks play the Hornets and MSG, it really hasn't been that great. But I do think they're going to win Sunday. So I think they're going to beat Charlotte. Not that confident against Boston, so I'm going to say they're going to lose against Boston. Then they play the Hawks. I think they'll be able to manage against Trey Young again, and then it's the in-season tournament against Washington. I think they got to win that game. If they lose that game, they're really screwed in regards to in-season tournament because then they're 0-2 there. So I think that's one of their. I'm not necessarily saying that's a priority for the Knicks to make sure they win in the in-season tournament, but they're gonna be circling that game and make sure that they perform at a higher level. And then they play Charlotte again. I think they're gonna beat Charlotte. So,
That's notable. I was
so
gonna
I
say
would
that's
say
notable.
I actually personally would think it would be 4-1. The only game they lose I see is Boston, but I wouldn't be surprised if they slip one of those other games because the opponents with Charlotte twice, Washington, and Atlanta, they shouldn't have a problem with them at all. But I do think they're probably going to slip one of those games. I'm not sure specifically which one it will be, so that's why I go 3-2. So that's my final saying. Hopefully they can go 5-0 or 4-1. But anything that's not 3-2, we're going to be having a problem. So hopefully we'll have a positive outcome from this next week to come. So
Yes, sir. I think it was well said what you said. I don't want to get. I don't want to. Honestly, I kind of feel like 3-2 is the safe play, and but I don't want to agree with you. So I'm gonna go 4-1. 4-1. I'm gonna say the only game we do lose is Boston in a nail biter, and we might beat Boston 4-1. But I definitely think maybe we caught our stride, and we definitely can beat Charlotte, and we can beat Atlanta, Washington. We can beat all those teams. We definitely can beat all 3 of those teams. Um, and I think we will. So, um, yeah, let's see. Let's see. So you said 3-2. I said 4-1. And, well, that concludes our show, guys. Definitely, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how these next few games go. I kind of been bored, man. I'm been all these days off, man. We got Saturday too. It's like, man, I'm ready for some basketball again. So looking forward to Sunday and seeing some basketball, probably watching some football, and yeah, we'll see how everything goes for this week. And good talking to y'all. I'll throw it back to Jonathan and see if he has anything else to talk.
nope, that's it for me. It was a great show. If you like the stuff that we do here, make sure you subscribe so you can always stay up to the Nick City Rock content. Make sure you like this video here. And if you want to listen to us, you can do so on Spotify. There's links to all that stuff in the description and on the channel. But I do really appreciate everyone that's liked our videos, watched our videos, or subscribed to the channel. We do really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for this episode. And so we'll see you next time, guys. Peace.
Peace, man.